Hello and welcome back to the Tin Barn. I'm Pragmatic Lee and we're starting this video out a little bit different. As you can see, I'm outside, and as I showed in a video, I don't know, several weeks back, I got my daddy's old Alice camera moved up here. I got a 10 by 20 canopy tent for it. As I said in that previous video, Daddy bought this tractor in the spring of the year I was born, the following fall, 1951. So this is 1951 Alice Chandler B. Got it up here. It's going to be a restoration project one of these days. But I also got another tent put up and got his John Deere 1020. Okay, the hood is off this John Deere now. The reason being, the last time this tractor was used, I used it 10 years ago this summer, and cleaning some archery paths out through the woods behind my house here, and I noticed that the fuel tank had a pretty serious leak in it. So I stopped, got the tractor under the shelter up there at Daddy's. Of course, he was deceased at that time, but got it under the shelter, got the fuel tank off, got the fuel tank repaired within just a matter of days, maybe weeks. Got it repaired and was ready to put it back on, and I had this little issue. I went to the hospital to have a routine heart catheterization just to see if I needed any stents, and wound up staying 9 days and having quintuple bypass. So my plans got changed a little bit right then, and of course I'm healed from that. Been doing great for the last 10 years, but one thing led to another, and I just never got back around to getting the fuel tank back in the tractor and getting it going. So the tractor's been sitting 10 years and it's not been started. I got it up here, I got the fuel tank in the other day, started trying to crank it, expecting to have a little bit of issues, but I noticed that I was not getting any fuel in the fuel filter on the other side. So I replaced the fuel pump on it, getting fuel to the carburetor, but not sure I'm getting it out of the carburetor just yet. I've got a lot of work to do on this. I've got a tune-up kit here with the distributor cap, the points, rotary button, condenser, plug wires, distributor cap, a new coil. Got all that ready to put on here, and also got a rebuild kit for the carburetor. But not quite ready to get to that yet. I'm going to wait until probably till the fall when it cools off a little bit. It's cool out here in the mornings, but once the sun comes up in the east over here, it gets pretty hot and follows around in this direction and stays pretty hot out here. But today I got a little project. I'm going to pull you in a little bit closer and show you what it is. We'll point out as well, Daddy didn't buy this tractor new. This is a 1974 model, built in 1974. He bought this in the late 70s, probably 78, 79, possibly into the early 80s. But I came home from the Air Force in 74, and it wasn't but just a few years after that he purchased this. So I'm going to say 78, 79, something like that. Okay, what the issue is, right down here is the choke cable, or is the lever for the choke. I may have to get you in even a little closer. Okay, here's the linkage that goes to the choke on the carburetor. And as you can see, the knob is going off the end of it. So the only way to choke the tractor, this is a gas tractor, of course it requires choking after sitting there, but the only way to pull that out, see, it's kind of hard to get hold of. But you had to come around here to the other side, reach around behind the intake manifold and the air cleaner pipe, and get hold of the cable lever. Now that's not too bad when the hood's off and everything is cool, but when the hood's on there and the tractor's been sitting for several days or a week or so, it's a little bit intimidating to stick your hand back up in there as bad as the wasps are in this area. So I never liked doing that. So what I want to do today is just take a little piece of aluminum stock and make a new knob to go on this. This was knurled right here and had one of those hard plastic knobs similar to what's on the gear shifts, was just pressed on there. That's pulled off. A press fit's never gonna work again. So what we're gonna do is take a piece of round stock aluminum, make a knob, something to get hold of, but we're gonna actually come out here with a Dremel tool and put some flats on this and use some dog-headed grub screws, set screws, to mount it to this lever. I got this piece of 1¼ inch aluminum round stock. I think the overall length of our knob is going to be 1 inch, but we're going to turn the first 1/2 inch of this down to 1/2 inch. And I want to be sure I don't slide this up on the linkage any more than the original knob was, because I want to be able to push the choke completely off. All right, so we'll get a touch off here. Well, actually, before we need to touch off, we need to touch off on the end. Set the Z-axis to 0. And come in 1/2 inch. This doesn't have to be precise at all, but I'll put a witness mark there. And then I'll come into the 1 inch mark, if I left enough out. Which I did. And put another witness mark. All right, now we'll touch off. Take about 80 thousandths total cut, which is 40 thousandths each side. $753, so we need about 250 more thousandths. Okay, while we're right here, we're going to go ahead and put a chamfer on this inside edge and a little bit on our slide over. I'm going to put a pretty heavy chamfer on this so I can take the file and somewhat round it off. As best I could measure the knurling where the old knob was, it was reading about 198 thousandths. That was as close to a nominal value or a repeatable value that I could come up with. So a number 8 drill bit is 199 thousandths. So that's what we're going to drill a hole in here with. And I suspect it to be a little bit of a snug fit, but that's all right. We'll tap it on, and then we'll use the grub screw to hold it in place. And as I pointed out before on this lathe, the tailstock likes to creep back just a little bit when you first start to drill. So I let it get seated, then bring my drill back in and re-zero out the quill DRO. And we're going to go in just a little over a ½ inch. Probably 5/8. Okay. All right, I'm going to pull the piece out just a little bit and part it off. Tell you what I'm going to do. It'll be much easier to hold in the milling machine to hold on this material back here than it will be this little bit. So I'm going to turn around now to the milling machine and get this hole drilled and tapped for our 1024 grub screw. I'll have all this to hold on to. Okay, now we're over here at the milling machine. We're going to mount our piece in the vise and of course find the center on the y-axis. Now we'll find the end of our piece. All right, our probe is 200 thousandths, so we'll come in 100 thousandths. And reset our zero. And now I really didn't have to find that end because I want the distance in on this is just whatever looks right. I'm so used to doing those multiple steps on something like this. All right, let's come in. There's 250 thousandths. That's halfway. We'll go with that. Just going to spot this. Now, as I say, I'll be using a 1024 grub screw, so let's see, 1024, the tap drill for that. And I'm going to see if I can start this with a bottom tap since I got such small amount to thread there. Tapered tap probably wouldn't even catch a full thread. So I'll put just a little bit of WD-40 on. Okay, now I think we're ready to go back to the lathe and part this off. Alright, before I part this off, I'm going to take the parting tool and go in about a ½ inch and remove some material in there, enough that I can get my the tool I was using to put this chamfer on that I've set down somewhere else. I'll find it in just a moment. Here we go. Get this tool in there to put a chamfer on this side to match that one. So I'm going to zero out the X there just to keep up with where ½ inch is. Slow down a little bit. Now we'll step over and get a little more. It's like my tool's slipping in, parting tool slipping in the holder a little bit. And I think about one more time, and that'll be plenty of room to get the tool in. Okay, I realize with the camera angle right here, you can't see what I just did there. So let me grab a quick picture. Now we'll see if we can't put a chamfer on this side like we got out here. And I'm going to set 0 on the DRO just so that I know coming in about the same amount. Alright, now we'll take a fairly coarse file and just see if we can round that up a little bit. Alright, I think we're ready now to part it off. Last minute I decided not to stick my fingers down in there, get them too close. Alright, we'll put that piece in and face it. And it's a bit warm. Piece actually broke off when I was parting, so I need to go in a little deeper there to clean that up. Alright folks, I'm pretty happy with that. I'll get that grub screw started in here. Then we'll go back out to the tractor and see if we can't get it installed. Alright, there was just no way in the world to get the camera in here to show what I was doing there, but I took the, get the camera and me in here. But I took the Dremel and put a flat on this side right here. Now what I'll do, I'll come back over here on this side and retract the linkage Now with the set screw in, all right, I think that'll be much easier. I'm gonna get some lube and spray up in here. I'm actually gonna pull this back off and probably put a coat of flat black paint on it, and then I think we'll call this job complete. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next video.